We're comparing the Sofirn IF23 to the IF24. Let's get to it. What's going on, everybody? Loadout EDC back at it again. We've got a great video of the Sofirn IF23 and the IF24. There's surprisingly a lot more differences between these two models of lights that I didn't even realize until getting these lights, so let's check it out. So first off, before we get into the differences, let's talk about the similarities of these two lights. Overall, they're both pretty similar in their style. They both have the top emitters right here, the side emitters, the push buttons, which they call the E-switches. They both have the magnetic base. They have pocket clips on the back side. They both have removable batteries on the bottom. The IF23 has a charging indicator on the button, while the IF24 has a charging indicator on the side. Each of them are equipped with USB-C charging and a nice little dust cover to keep them water resistant. And overall, the design is very similar. So now, instead of talking about both flashlights individually, let's talk about them together, because the whole point of this video is to compare the two lights together. So to start off, the IF23 has a very powerful front emitter, while the IF24 is a little bit less powerful. The IF24 is running 2,000 lumens, while the IF23 is running 4,000 lumens. With that being said, the IF23 also has a little bit of a warmer color temperature and a wider spill, while the IF24 is much cooler of a color temperature with a stronger hotspot right down the middle. Now the IF23 has a 21700 5,000 milliamp hour battery. Great size battery, but it's not that common compared to the IF24, which has an 18650 3,000 milliamp hour battery. The 23 is a little bit taller than the 24. It's also a little bit bulkier and fits in the hand a lot better, but having this much slimmer design in the IF24, it doesn't fit in the hand quite as comfortably, but it might be a little bit more pocket friendly, easier to put in a pouch or a backpack. Although with that being said, the reflector is a little bit smaller on that, so you have to take that into consideration. You're going to be losing a little bit of that spill with the IF24 because it has that smaller reflector. Now with the reflector in mind, the IF23 has an orange peel reflector, while the IF24 has a smooth reflector. The LED in the 23 is much larger than the LED in the 24. That's also going to make a big difference in the brightness and the spill of the light. Now with the side light, the IF23 has much more diffused lights. You can't even see the LED emitters on the 23, but on the 24, it's a little bit less diffused, but it still has a little bit of a frosted face to it, and you can see the individual LED emitters on the light. Now with the 23, it has a much less sophisticated lockout mode. It's just a clicky flashlight that you use to get through all the settings, while the IF24 has this rotary dial switch along with the E-switch, just like the IF23. So with that being said, I think the IF24 beats it in that category just because it's much easier to switch between the settings. You know where you're going to be going between them. You know if it's in a lockout mode, the front emitter, the side emitter. And with the IF24, you can switch between the standard LEDs or the colored LEDs. So that does make a big difference there. In the IF23, the UI is a little bit more cumbersome because you can't just do a double click to get to the turbo mode. It actually takes you to the side emitter mode. You have to put it into the front emitter mode and then double click for the turbo mode. So I'm the kind of person that wants to grab a light and quickly jump into turbo mode. You can't do that with this kind of light. In the IF24, you can do that because as long as you're on the front emitter, it's going to auto activate and you can double click for that turbo mode. Now there's two things with this rotary switch that I'm not a big fan of. For one, I think it's made for lefties because when you pull down on the switch in your right hand, it puts it into the side emitter mode, which really I wish you would pull down to get into that front emitter mode. So as a lefty, if you're pulling down, it will put it in that front emitter mode and other way around for the side emitter. Now the other thing I wish you could turn on and off with the IF24 is the fact that anytime you turn that rotary switch, it's going to automatically activate that light. And there's been so many times where I'll turn that switch and it blinds me right in the face. It'd be nice to be able to have the option to turn that off so you can put it in that mode and then click it, but I do understand why it would be something like that because then it's a little bit easier to tell which mode you're going to be switching to. And it does have that memory state. It's going to stay in that same state that you had last set it on. Now with the IF23, there's something that the 24 does not have, and that's the ability to use this as a power bank. You can use this to charge your phone. It has input and output on the USB-C port. So that's something that's pretty nice. You can keep this as a little power bank. Then you also have a side emitter and a front emitter. It's pretty sweet. Again, the only thing that I don't really like that much about this is that the UI is a little bit tough to get through. It's something to learn. It's not a huge deal, but I kind of like the UI on this, how you can just flip between that rotary switch. Awesome little feature to have. I just wish this emitter was a little bit brighter and had a wider spill. It's kind of like if I could just put these two together, it'd be a perfect little combination. Now another difference between the two flashlights is the IF23 has a two-way pocket clip, while the IF24 has just a one-way pocket clip. So again, the 23 I think beats it in that category. Now overall, I think the design of the 24 over the 23 is much more slick. Not a big fan of the front faceplate here on the 23. It's a little bit bigger and bulkier. I like the diffusion of the 23. Overall, I think the IF24 has a much better style and design to it. When I first started looking at these lights on the internet, I thought they were gonna be much smaller, probably about half the size than they really are. So I was pretty surprised to find out that this is a full-size flashlight that fits in your hand. I was kind of expecting it to be something a little bit smaller that I can put in my pocket, in any kind of pocket, sweatpants, shorts, jeans, cargo pants, in a small pouch or backpack, but this is really a larger tool that isn't going to be something that I'm going to keep on me all the time, but it's great for someone who's going for walks, going for runs. Keep this on your backpack as a SOS kind of light, as a beacon kind of light, so people can see you on the road if you're going for walks. It can be great for an inspection light. Again, the magnetic base is something that you can stick anywhere. You can shine it out, you can shine it down. Lots of different variety of uses for these things. Another great thing that I see this useful for is police officers. It has different type of light modes. You can switch it between flashing blue and flashing red, and this comes in both flashlights. So it has a lot of different options. You've got a full array of RGB colors. The side emitters have great brightness to them, much brighter than some of the other flashlights that I've seen with side emitters, so that is something that's really nice to have. Now with the IF23, it's this triple click to get between the different light modes, and then it's double click to get between the different settings. Triple click to turn both of the sides on. Press and hold to change colors, and if you let go and press and hold right away, you can go back and forth between the colors. So if you just pass up a color, you don't have to go all the way around through the cycle. You can just go back and forth pretty easily like that. It's the same thing for the IF23 and the IF24. You can do that, change the colors. Now I can bring it back to red. If I pass it up a little bit, kind of can tweak it just to get it right. If you have any other questions about these lights, please let me know in the comments below. Overall, I really like to have both of them. It'd be really great to combine the two of them to make one perfect light, but I really like having both of them for the fact of having a spotlight with the IF24 or a floodlight for the IF23. Again, great color temperature on the 23, a little bit too cool on the 24 for me. Having the SOS, the beacon, the strobe, all of those different modes. You have the police light mode, you can do the RGB array, you can do droplets, fading in between colors. There's a lot of different modes and options on here that I don't want to go too deep into in this video because I just want to compare the difference between the two flashlights. So I think this is a really good start. It allows you to see the main differences between the lights. So I think that about wraps everything up. If you have any questions, again, leave it in the comments below. I'm gonna have links to both of these products in the description below. Don't forget to subscribe and like the video, and we will see you in the next one.